What's up, everybody? It's my second episode of My Voice, Our Agenda. I just want to, again, get all praises to God for giving me the opportunity to do something that I love. Um, I'm truly great. I'm truly grateful. I'm blessed. Uh, you know, I wake up in the morning and I'm truly thankful to see another day. Uh, Again, thank you for tuning in to my new podcast. This is my second episode. Um, and I want to give you guys a different vibe this time. I was told not to sing a high note, but you know me, I'm hard headed. You know, I don't listen to that. So I can feel it. I feel good. Um, but let's get right into it. Uh, Being careful on the company you keep. I think it's very important to understand that you have to have people in your circle that's positive. Or sometimes you can't help. You have that one or two people that is knuckleheads and uh, you know that's hot headed. But overall, I think it's important that you be mindful to keep the company that you keep positive. You got to be careful about that. I mean, it's very crucial, you know, to be mindful of the people you surround yourself with. Their influence could significantly determine where you go in life. And sometimes it can be life and death. So the overall development, the company you keep either uplift you or hinder your progress. Um, and it can control your emotion, your habit, and even your value. And I don't think people really understand that. Let me give you an example. Growing up, I was one of them dudes where I probably, had the best of both worlds. And when I say that, I had my core friends, you know, born and raised in Hartford, you know what I'm saying? Big up to Hartford, Connecticut. But first of all, let me give a shout out to Hartford. I'm born and raised, Hartford. Let me give a shout out to Hartford. I was actually born in the north end of Hartford. Big up to Westbourne Parkway. Everybody from Westbourne, man, big up. Um, that's where I was born at. And I had my core friends, you know, and there were some of the friends that we hung up the street on the upper side of Westbourne. Then you had some of my friends at the bottom, and those were the ones where they were older. Um, and I spent most of my time, you know, on the upper part of Westbourne Parkway where I had my core friends. Even though I had my friends down the street, we all was like one big family. Um, for the most part, we were all positive. We were all into sports. That was our main objective, just hang out playing sports. You know, born in like at the end of the 60s and 1969 I was born. So I grew up in like the 70s and the 80s. And everything we did was outside from morning to night till the street lights came on when mama and pop told your ass to get in the house. Uh, Everything we did outside. And we were pretty much well-rounded children. Of course, you had your good days and your bad days. You had the negatives or whatever. But I carried that on um, to my teenage years and my young adult years. And most of these guys, you know, are still positive people in the community. Um, so I've learned along the way, you know, what it meant, you know, while having a company you keep, because I've ran into that part of my life where I could have got my head blown off, not choosing the right person to be around or the right people to be around. Um, and then I would, you know, find my way to the better half of the company that I was keeping. They were in college up in New Haven, UConn. Um, wasn't doing drugs and smoking, no violence. Um, so that's why I say I had the best of both worlds. And it's crazy that you would say the negative side is the best part, but it really was the best part. One of the or two of the, one of the best of the, of both sides, because, even though I had that positive side, you know, me having that negative side with those group of friends where the hustling and the violence and all of that was taking place, it shaped me to the man I am today. Because I don't think if I had not gone through all those things that I had went through from the negative side, I wouldn't have appreciated the positive side, right? So the company you keep can be different segments of life. The emotional influence, the positive people can lift your mood, and while negative one will drain your energy and joy, because you're always looking over your back, trying to figure out what these ignorant motherfuckers would do, right? Then you had the comfort, that comfort zone. You may consciously and unconsciously adopt behaviors and beliefs from those that are around you. Um, and I truly believe that, because, when you have positive people around you that going to college and going to work and um, just doing positive things in the community, like coaching football, when you got things like that, it gives you a sense of relief, you know, because you don't have to worry about being stabbed in the back. You ain't got to worry about them trying to rob you for your chain, or, you know, stick you up for your paper. You don't have to worry about all of that. So, being in my comfort zone, I was always in my comfort zone when I was around, those positive people. And I appreciate that, because, you know, this give me a chance to have this type of conversation on my platform so I can give you best of both worlds. So I appreciate those dudes that was positive, because you shaped that good side of me. And I also appreciate the dudes that was out there, I was hustling, that was carrying the hammers and you know, sticking up people and robbing people. And not even that, just smoking weed, you know. Big shout out to Orange Street, man. Big shout out to Orange Street. Big shout out to Adams Street, Kent Street, Albany Avenue, um, the Hood. Big shout out to all them streets out there where I was at. Um, I learned so much, and being around all walks of life. You know, the older ones, the younger ones, has shaped me for who I am today. But it also taught me you better be careful on who you choose to be in your life. It matters. Um, Surrounding yourself with people who have qualities you admire can help you develop those same traits. I have a best friend, family, Fleet. You know, I I got so many stories. I'll add that to another podcast. But he's younger than me actually, um, and I paid attention to every move. I paid attention to every move. I tell this story about Fleet to everybody about when we were kids on Westbourne Parkway, and there's a divider, you know, that divide Westbourne Parkway. That it's grass, and I don't know how we managed, but we had whole football games on there, street football games. And me, Mike Tate, big shout out to Mike Tate, Marcus Walls, Leonard James, Nord, the Neal family, Mark and Ronald, um, Jai, my brothers, Sean, Jermaine. Um, I can go on and on and on. But we had football games, and I remember we were kids, man, and it's crazy how my man Fleet, you know, we probably had the most organized street football game in history. Like straight up. We had the huddles and we had the formations, but we also had a young fella that was the coach before his time. And, he used to, in the grass, he would put the grass apart and make dirt, where the dirt is at, and he could draw plays up. And we talking about plays. Some of them plays you see in the NFL today. I'm dead ass. You know what I'm saying? This is probably the first time he ever heard me say that. He heard me tell his story, but you know, like he really had plays that worked. The flea flickers and you know the post cross and the slants and you know what I'm saying. Like, but that's the positive, right? Like he's the head coach of Windsor right now in Windsor, Connecticut, and great coach, man, great dude, great role model. But it all started right there. It started right there. Like it's amazing. But to see someone grow from a child, you know, the, the coaching at his alma mater at Weaver High School to go into Windsor, you know, and be so successful, one of the best successful coaches in Connecticut history. Big shout out to Fleet, man. But everybody, Nord, great quarterback, great basketball player, my man Mike Tate, big shout out, you know what I'm saying? Big, religious guy, you know, Marcus Wall, you know, that's where it all started. That's my positive side. I don't have to name the people on the negative side, but at the end of the day, you get to, the difference between, you know, how to choose your friends. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't blame them for nothing. Uh, I give all credit to them because even though I was hanging around some of the dudes that were carrying guns and moving in that direction, they were smart. I learned a lot. They were very intelligent people. It's just that you cross that line, it is what it is. And I was part of that. And, some things I'm not proud of. But there were moments where I had to watch my back. There were moments where I was put in situations um, where I had to make some quick decisions, or else I was either in jail for the rest of my life or I was end up in a casket. So, you know, influence and choosing the right people in your life is vital. It's vital. And I'm choosing this platform, my voice, our agenda, to let everyone know that no matter what you do, choose your friends wisely. Um, they'll stab you in the back, or they'll lift you up to the higher. They'll support you. Uh, they'll be there for you, or they'll smash your girl behind your back. Yeah, they'll set you up to have you robbed. They'll talk about you behind your back, or you need a job. They'll use their connections to get you a job. You buy a home, you get married, uh, you're trying to start your own podcast, or you write a book. Big shout out to all the books I've written. I'll get into that. I'm gonna use a whole segment talking about my book. Um, but either they're gonna support you or they're not, you know. But it's the company you keep. It's very important to understand what that means. So I just want to touch on that. Uh, keep continuing. Hey, hit that like button, man. Violate that like button. Subscribe. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate everybody that's supporting me. Again, I'm gonna keep on saying it. Um, live life and love yourself. That's gonna be my slogan. Live life and love yourself, because nobody will. God bless. Keep supporting my voice, our agenda. I'll see you guys again and again and again. God bless.